And welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. I have an update for you guys from Redfin based on a new report just announced on Thursday here. It says home buying demand shows early signs of a rebound following weeks of decreasing rates and increasing listings. Let's have a look at this. It says declining rates and a double-digit increase in the number of new listings are bringing house hunters off the sidelines, with pending sales posting their smallest decrease in about 20 months. So Redfin's saying here that new listings increased by double digits, more than 10%. And on top of that, pendings posted the smallest year-over-year decrease in about 20 months. However, though, when looking at the data, though, it shows that pending home sales overall have been decreasing more or less ever since the summer months. So let's kind of dive in here, because what I found to be really interesting regarding this report here is that the number of new listings is actually showing some progress here, which of course will mean that there's more options for home buyers. This is highly unusual, this trend I'm going to share with you guys here. So this report here covers the 4 weeks ended December 24th. Let's first talk about home prices and the median sold price that actually increased to $364,000. That's a gain of 4.5% compared to the same time frame in 2022. That was the biggest increase since October last year. Again, though, prices are up partially due to the fact that rising rates last year caused home prices to decrease greatly as well. So here's a look at Redfin's data center regarding the median sold price on a national level going back to 2020. I really wish they would show 2019's numbers so I can share how these numbers compare to pre-pandemic levels. But once we approach the new year, they will drop 2020. And once we got into 2023, they dropped 2019. That's why I can't share 2019's numbers with you guys. I will have an update for you guys from Realtor.com in about a week though, because they share the numbers going back to 2017, which I absolutely love. In any case, the median sold price is up by about 4% year over year. And let me just exclude 2020 and 2021. So the median sold price again at $364,000. The previous week was at $363,000. They do tend to do a revision to their previous week. So if you look at their report from 1 week ago, the numbers could be revised. And this is common across the industry here. So at $364,000, that's again about 4% higher than this time last year when we were at approximately $349,000. But again, prices tanked in the last half last year, whereas this year we're seeing a seasonal decrease in prices. And because of that, that's one of the reasons why we're up compared to 2022 at this time. This also means we'll probably end the year with a gain in prices overall in the range of 3 to about 5%. Let's get back to the report though, and let's talk about the areas in which home prices have increased and decreased the most. The biggest gain, or the biggest winner here, is Anaheim, California, located near Disneyland, giant increase of 18.2%, whereas Newark, New Jersey saw a gain of 17%. Then we had Fort Lauderdale, Florida, increasing by 13.6%, West Palm Beach, Florida, and then Miami, Florida. Very interesting to see here that 3 of the top 5 markets are located in Florida. In contrast, though, there's 3 markets out of the 50 most populous areas in which prices are down compared to 12 months ago. Leading the nation once again is Austin, Texas, down by 4%. Then we had Fort Worth, Texas, down by 2.2%, and San Francisco down by 1.1%. Okay, let's change gears slightly here and talk about the average monthly mortgage payment that would-be home buyers would be paying to buy a median price home today, putting 20% down. That'd be $2,401 per month at the 6.67% rate, according to Freddie Mac 1 week ago. That's down $334 per month, or down 12.2% compared to the all-time high that was set during the 4 weeks ended October 22nd. That's also the lowest levels since February this year. This is not due to prices tanking. This is due to prices doing a seasonal decrease, but more so due to the fact that rates have been down or have been decreasing by about 1.4 percentage points over the past 2 months. This rate, by the way, at 6.67% is according to Freddie Mac 1 week ago. But as of December 28th, they reported that the rate actually decreased again down to 6.61%. 1 year ago this time, the average 30-year fix, again, for people with great credit, was at 6.42%. So because rates have been still decreasing, and they decreased this week, this number right here, 334, will likely get higher once Redfin reports their latest update in about a week from now. So housing affordability is improving due to a decrease in rates. But again, in my personal opinion, we need to see prices also decrease as well in order to make housing more affordable. Let's change gears again slightly here and talk about pending home sales, new listings, a big update for you guys regarding that, as well as active listings, or the total number of houses actually for sale. So in regards to pending home sales, a measure of buyers getting their offers accepted, that actually decreased by 4% year over year, the smallest decrease since March of 2022. Whereas new listings surged by 12.2% year over year. That was the biggest uptick since June of 2021. The increase, though, just like home sales, is partly due to the fact that new listings fell big time last year. That's one of the reasons why we're up by 12.2%. Meanwhile, active listings decreased by 3.8% year over year. That was the smallest decline, though, since June this year. So we're seeing a decrease of contracts being signed, down by 4%, whereas new listings increased by 12.2%. But despite that rise of new listings, we're still down in regards to the total number of houses for sale from 1 year ago. Let's also have a look at how each of the metros fares regarding pendings as well as new listings. Then I'll share some charts regarding what we're seeing right now regarding these numbers on a national level. So pending home sales increased the most in Dallas, Texas, rising by 8.5%. Then we had Milwaukee, Austin, Texas, Orlando, Florida, and Fort Worth, Texas. After that, we have, or I should say in contrast, the biggest decreases of pendings were actually in Providence, Rhode Island, down by 15.2%. Then we have Virginia Beach, Jacksonville, Florida, West Palm Beach, Florida, and Tampa, Florida. So pendings increase in 14 of the 50 biggest metros. The other ones actually decrease. New listings, this is a big one here. So new listings decrease only in 10 of the 50 metros. This means that 40 metros are experiencing an increase in the amount of people listing their houses for sale. The biggest increase, or the biggest winner here, is Phoenix, Arizona, a whopping 31.5% gain in the number of newly listed houses. After that was San Antonio, Dallas, Washington, D.C., and Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. In contrast, the biggest losers here regarding new listings is San Francisco, down by 25.7%. Then we have Indianapolis, Indiana, Atlanta, Warren, Michigan, and Newark, New Jersey. All right, let's have a look at Redfin's data set here regarding the measure of pending home sales compared to the past 4 years here. So right now, it's down by 4% compared to 2022 right here. But again, it's well below 2020 and 2021. Right now, there's around 57,600 pending home sales over the previous 4 weeks here. Compare that to the same time frame in 2021 and more or less 2020, there was around 86,000 pendings. Let me just exclude 2020 as well as 2021 so we can see the differences between this year and last year. So to start the year, we were down a whopping 29.6% in the number of contracts being signed between buyers and sellers of existing houses. Now it's only down by 4%. So even though we have fewer contracts being signed right now compared to last year this time, it actually is not as bad compared to the start this year as well as the summer months this year. when we saw a decrease of around 15 to about 12%. At the same time, though, we're not seeing pendings shoot up either due to this sharp decrease in rates as well, though. Here's a look at new listings because this is something that has been really catching my attention here. So the measure of new listings, again, is up by 12.2% year over year, partially due to the fact that it fell big time last year. But look what happened this year, or I should say the past 2 weeks here. So right now there's around 53,000 new listings. Compare this to last week, there was about 54,000. So a slight decrease in new listings, which is abnormal because let me just include 2020 and 2021 because it's more normal to see new listings decrease, not be more or less flat compared to the previous week. So we're actually getting very close to the levels we had back in 2020 and 2021, around 53,000 new listings. Back at this time in 2021, there was only 60,000. So we're very, very close to the past several years here, which is much different compared to the summer months. So for example, back in July, we're down 20% from 2022 and also down big time compared to 2021 at around 120,000 new listings. And at that time this year, around 90,000. So the delta was around 30,000, whereas right now, the delta is about 7,000. So what I will be closely following in the early parts next year, and of course reporting to you guys as well, is how this fluctuates here. Because if new listings shoot up, that of course would increase inventory levels, which of course would wreak havoc on our housing market as well. So I'll definitely keep you posted because this is a very interesting trend we're seeing right now, albeit a short-term trend, but it could be a glimpse into the future next year. In regards to active listings or housing inventory, we're down 3.75% from 2022, which is the block line right here. We're also below 2020 as well, but also we're still higher though compared to 2021 at this time. At this time in 2021, there was around 695,000 homes for sale. Now there's around 818,000. So excluding 2020 and 2021, you can see here that inventory levels spiked very, very late into the season though, but they only saw this slight gradual increase of inventory, whereas last year inventory absolutely spiked, going from, when was this? Basically in February at around 619,000, but by the time we hit August, we were at around 983,000. So inventory absolutely surged during the spring and summer months this year, whereas this year it barely squeaked by here. On top of that, look at the beginning of last year, there was around 660,000 homes for sale, and we ended the year at about 850,000. Whereas this year, we're at 817,000, but to start the year, we're at 820,000. So inventory levels more or less flat this year, whereas last year it absolutely surged. And of course, that's one of the main reasons why home prices tanked in the second half last year, and one of the reasons why home prices are still up by about 4% year over year right now. Let's also discuss the month supply right now. The month supply on a national level over the past 4 weeks, according to Redfin, is at 3.6 months. This is much higher compared to the lows we saw back in June when we were around 2.5 months. We are seeing a seasonal increase in supply and now seeing a seasonal decrease right now. As you can see in 2022, the month supply increased throughout the year, but then decreased in December, which is exactly what we're seeing right now. So at 3.6 months though, this is more or less the highest levels we've had going back to approximately November. And before that, the highest levels since approximately February this year. If you guys want to see home prices decrease greatly though, we would need to see the month supply at around, I would say around 6 or higher in order to see supply outweigh home buying demand, which would make a buyer's market for sure. Right now, it's very low levels still, even though it's higher compared to 2021 as well as 2020 here. Let's also have a look at how fast or how slow houses are selling, because the median days in the market is at 39 days. This is a time frame when you list your home for sale until you accept an offer from home buyer. That's at 39 days right now. I compare this to the same time frame last year. It actually was about 41 days. So houses selling a little bit faster compared to last year and roughly on par with 2020. 2023 here is the orange line. 2020 is the gray bar here. Let's also have a look at the share of price drops, The share of price drops, according to Redfin, is at 5%. So 5% of listings have reduced their asking price. This is higher from last year at this time. At this time last year, that ratio was at about 4.3%. Now it's at 5%. And lastly, let's have a look at the average sale price to final list price ratio. That's at 98.5%. This means on average, for the houses that did sell, the home seller sold their house for about 1.5% below their final asking price. What I really wish a Redfin would show, though, is the average sale price to original list price ratio, because that would account for the fact of price reductions. So when looking at the final list price, this excludes any price reductions that you did. So if you list your house for sale for $600,000, you didn't get any offers, and then you reduced it to $500,000 and you sold it for $510,000, technically you sold your house for over your final list price, but well below your original list price. In any case, this is still higher compared to last year this time. Last year, the ratio was at 98%, meaning that houses that did sell sold for about 2% below the seller's final list price. Now it's at 98.5%. But what's your biggest takeaway from today's video? My biggest takeaway is the number of new listings relatively flat compared to the previous week, which is abnormal. We should see a huge decrease in new listings during December. We see that virtually each and every year. So I'll definitely keep it posted with the latest developments regarding that, because if new listings start shooting up next year, that could be a recipe for disaster. Or if they remain at very low levels, if people decide not to list their house for sale because they have 2, 3, 4% rates, of course, that could also wreak havoc on our housing market as well, especially first-time home buyers and buyers as well. With that said, I appreciate you guys watching today's video. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.